A tropical storm is forming right now, and it's expected to impact the Carolinas all the way through New England. Hi, everybody. I'm meteorologist Chris Justice, providing you with early warnings of these type systems, a reliable forecast you can count on, and a direct approach you won't find anywhere else. I'm very grateful that you're here, and if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Let's get right to it because this system is going to provide some wind and rain to a lot along the East Coast, and it's going to impact temperatures too. I'm expecting it to be kind of a rotten weekend for a lot of us. Let's show you what's happening right now with the satellite. We've got a mess along Florida. I mean, it's just been a complete washout this week as we've seen rain and wind. Things are going to improve, though, for you in Florida, and they're going to go downhill from the Outer Banks through Virginia, into D.C., parts of Jersey, up through New York, into Pennsylvania, even into Massachusetts, Boston. I mean, we're talking about this being a wide impact system right here as it begins to pull to the north. So let's get right to the data and show you what I'm watching right now. Rain firing up yet again for a lot of Florida today, but you are going to be in store for your first taste of fall in quite a while. The humidity will drop around this system, and the circulation is so powerful around it that it's going to pull down some cooler, less humid air from the north. So from being in the muggy upper 80s, you're going to be in the low to mid 80s with some sunshine and more tolerable humidity. Let's map out this system because I expect Friday night football games to be impacted along the eastern Carolinas from Myrtle Beach through Wilmington into the Outer Banks. It's going to be really wet. It's going to be really windy Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Friday night, and this could get as far west as Spartanburg, South Carolina, Gaffney, Charlotte. We could have some rain overnight Friday into Saturday, but it doesn't look to be a washout on Saturday. It looks to make landfall somewhere between Wilmington and Cape Hatteras here, and then it pulls to the north. So if you have plans along the Carolina coast, most of South Carolina looks to be dry by Saturday mid-morning. So I would not cancel plans. In fact, it looks to be a pretty nice weekend in South Carolina. Different story for Saturday from Raleigh eastbound. Lots of football, lots of good football going on this weekend. Got to watch it closely. Clemson, Florida State looks fantastic. Could not ask for better weather. Lower humidity, comfortable temperatures, but a different story up through North Carolina, Virginia, and D.C., Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York. It's going to be rough. Let's get to the wind speeds. The peak winds from this model are showing a cap at about 65 to 70 miles per hour. So a high-end tropical storm. Could this be a Cat 1 hurricane? Yes, but that looks to be the cap on it as of right now. The data that I have at my disposal, I can tell you the main impact from this is going to be the rain. Looks to be quite a bit of it. Thankfully, it's on the move, so we're talking 2 to 4 inches, maybe even 5 inches of rain in the Outer Banks. Now, while that's a lot, it's not as much as we can see with tropical systems. However, I want you to know that any landfalling tropical system can be dangerous and deadly when it comes to inland flooding. Inevitably, there's going to be some area that the water's just too much, and that can lead to flooding. And that's my big concern with this is 4 inches of rain in about a day is just too much. And it really drops off quickly from Charlotte getting 1/10 of an inch to as much as 1/4 of an inch, to Raleigh getting close to 2 inches, to the Outer Banks stretching down to Wilmington and Myrtle Beach, 2 to 4, even 5 inches possible there. And it doesn't stop there. It moves up toward the northeast where you get quite a bit of rain as well. The temperatures will be another story. I mean, this is going to wrap in some comfortable air for us. In Florida, you're talking highs on Friday into Saturday in the low to mid 80s. By the time we get into Saturday, waking up to some cool weather here in Pennsylvania, stretching down into New York. We're talking about waking up to the 40s, 50s, Western North Carolina, 40s, 50s, and highs on Saturday look to be in the mid to upper 70s. So a nice fall temperature feel to it. We just got a lot of rain to boot. So let's look at the northeast because as this moves toward the north, it's a wall of rain from Virginia up through parts of Maryland into D.C., Pennsylvania, New York getting in on some of this action. I mean, we're talking about some real rain here moving across some very populated areas on the I-95 corridor. And unfortunately, it's just a windy, wet weekend, Saturday and Sunday for I-95 up the East Coast here. As far as wind speeds, I'm seeing those wind gusts that could get up to 40 or 50 miles per hour from D.C. up through the Jersey Shore into New York City. Boston could get 30 mile per hour winds. I mean, it's going to be windy, rainy, and quite cool. When you talk about the temperatures with this wind and rain, it's going to be a bit on the cool side with this wrapping around. And we've got quite a bit of rainfall. Now, the gradient is high here, meaning it goes from not a lot of rain to a lot of rain the closer you get to the coast here. And any deviation, any shift in the track would mean higher impacts go inland if it shifts west, lower impacts go out to sea if it shifts east. So for my friends in New York, for my friends in Jersey, for my friends in Pennsylvania, on up to Massachusetts, we got to watch this. This could increase your threat for flooding. It could decrease your threat for flooding if this thing shifts at all. And unfortunately, it's not the only system we're watching. While this moves up the East Coast, draw your attention there, look what's forming down here. The American model has been very consistent and quite accurate this year at picking up and sniffing out systems in the days 7 through 10. The European has done a good job at kind of catching up with what the American model has shown, and then it gets more accurate, even more accurate than the American. But I'd say right now, the GFS is kind of the winner when you're in that day 7 through 10 time frame. So for my friends in the Caribbean islands, if you're watching right now, please let me know where you're watching from. I want to tailor these forecasts to you, where you're watching from right now. And we will keep this going because I don't want to tell you something's coming and not keep you up to date. So that's my commitment to you, is to keep you updated here as these threats come to fruition. And there it is, center of your screen, moving. This depiction of the American model shows Cat 3, Cat 4 here, just north of the islands. The European model wants to develop a monster as well, just a little bit later and a little bit farther to the north and east. But the thing is here, both models have a system in a similar location on Wednesday. They just differ on where it goes from there, okay? Let's look at the GFS closer to home because that was the more potent model here. It shows your screen right in here, a Cat 3, Cat 4. So folks, St. Lucia, St. Martin, that are still recovering from Maria just years ago. You're talking a Cat 3 monster just north of you here. So we are dialed in. We're watching it closely, and this is the channel to stay up to date on that. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I want to keep you up to date, and that is my commitment here to you, is to do that. As we move forward here, we'll be watching that closely as it moves toward the northeast. And right now, the GFS model shows it skirting just north of Puerto Rico as a monster Cat 4, maybe even Cat 5 on this. This is a potent system, and just for seeing what it looks like here on the wind gust swath, we're talking about a just monster system here moving just north of those islands. So the strongest winds in this model solution would stay just north of the Caribbean islands right there, but we're talking 50 to 60 miles difference, folks. So stay dialed in. You're on watch right now. I will keep you posted. What do the ensembles show? I got 26 different runs of that same GFS. A lot of them are here showing Cat 1, even into the Caribbean, not just dipping close. Some of these models, and that's my concern here, is this latest run of the GFS. Let's see if the new one is out as we're mapping it out. Yep. A lot of them are farther south here. There's a group of them. I look for groups and trends out of these ensembles, and there's a group of them here that are showing direct impacts in Puerto Rico. 987, 984, that'd be Cat 1 strength. So we would need to watch that. I don't see a lot of 950s, 960s here on the GFS, but interestingly enough, look at the European model, the latest ensembles of that. Now, the good news with the European, it's farther away, but I'm seeing a stronger system out of the European ensembles. So that's kind of interesting to see. And what I see out of this, and just my forecasting after doing this 20 years, is that when I see the ensembles picking up on a stronger system and a cluster of them, I know that probably the operational model is going to trend that way. And it's a great piece of the puzzle to navigate where things are going to go from there. So simply put, if you're watching in the Caribbean right now, if you have interest in the Caribbean, stay dialed in. I'm going to keep you posted. Subscribe to this channel if you don't already. I will keep you up to date as this situation unfolds in the coming days. Back here at home, we have a couple of days of severe weather threats. Yeah, from Texas to Oklahoma, up through Kansas and Nebraska, the risk of wind and rain today that could get severe, and even some hail. Those gusts could get up to 70 miles per hour, and there's even the potential with the wind energy here that we could have isolated tornadoes. And it's not just one day. That threat shifts up to the north into Nebraska, South Dakota on Friday. Enough wind shear there that this could be a bit of a tornado threat. And then day 3, Saturday, looks to be a multi-state threat for straight line damaging winds as this low pressure system and the associated front with it begin to really take shape and move this thing to the north. So we're going to watch that closely for you, from Oklahoma to Kansas, up through Nebraska into South Dakota, into parts of Iowa, stretching into Arkansas. So stay dialed in on that as we move forward here. Back to the tropical system and the potential that this provides. This is Tomer Berg's website. I find it just so fantastic and helpful. He's got a breakdown right here of the SHIPS model. It's one of our first early models that show up here with this system. And basically what it's showing here is a tropical depression today, a tropical storm tonight, making landfall somewhere here along Cape Hatteras and then moving right along the East Coast, impacting many. But what's so visual here out of the SHIPS model is it shows the cap, so the potential, so to speak, around 70 miles per hour. Then it really dives down as it's making landfall. So do all the other charts. Wind shear increases. One interesting fact here is it moves into cooler water the further north it gets. And the humidity. Tropical systems thrive on humidity. And as we move forward here, it's been so dry and cool on the East Coast that a lot of that dry air is going to get wrapped in the system as it makes landfall. And it's really going to be inundated with that the second to third day. This would be Friday night into Saturday. So dry air is going to start to weaken that system very quickly. And I think a lot of that west side of the system is going to be completely dry because of that. Anytime you have that west side of the system getting that dry air wrapped in, it's really relying on the ocean to give it some oomph. And that looks to be on the east-northeast side of that, which is why a lot of those East Coast cities going up through the Northeast into New England will be impacted greater with this. So again, a couple of models now coming in on this, showing the max cap sitting somewhere around a high-end tropical storm to maybe bordering with Cat 1 strength. And that's what we'll be watching closely here, folks. So thank you. If you are new to this channel, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I would really appreciate it if you appreciate my early, reliable, and direct approach to forecasting. I love what I do. I've been doing it on television for 20 years, and I'm thankful to be able to share my passion with you. I'm a chief meteorologist, and just watching weather is what I love to do, and helping people plan so that you can keep your family safe. Talk to you soon, everybody.